Benoit Blanc is back, everybody, and this time he is solving a mystery in an ooky spooky church with the help of Josh O'Connor as a priest. I got to check out Wake Up Dead Man, the latest Knives Out mystery from Rian Johnson, so we are going to discuss that movie right here, right now, but spoiler free. Heavy on the spoiler free. Do not worry, there will be zero spoilers from the movie found here. Wake Up Dead Man is about a young priest named Judd who is sent to assist a firebrand Monsignor named Jefferson Wicks, but when he gets there, it's clear that something is kind of afoot within the parish. After a sudden and seemingly impossible murder rocks the town, the lack of an obvious suspect prompts local police chief Geraldine Scott to join forces with Benoit Blanc. I think this is the most ambitious Benoit Blanc mystery yet. It is very intricate. There are a lot of moving pieces at play. I think Rian Johnson has spun himself a very complicated, tangled web. That works both to the movie's detriment and benefit. I think because this movie is so ambitious with its mystery and what it's trying to do, it overstays its welcome a bit. This movie is almost 2.5 hours, and there are definitely stretches where you can really feel that runtime. But I do think it culminates in a satisfying mystery. All of the threads, all of the little pieces, all of the setup that we are taking the time to lay out does matter and culminate in something that makes sense. It doesn't feel like we're jumping through ridiculous hoops to connect everything, and it is satisfying. I did kind of guess who did it right away, but with these movies, I don't think it really matters the who. I really like the why and the how done it of it all, and I think that is really thoughtful and well done. I'm so blown away by Rian Johnson's attention to detail and the way he makes every little detail matter, especially in this movie. I think he's operating at a 10 in that regard. There are things happening in the back of some of these scenes that are important and do matter. Like, I won't spoil anything, but something movement wise happened in the back of a frame that caught my eye, and it ended up being like pretty crucial. And I was just like, oh, there's little tiny things that are just kind of mentioned that come back in a big way. I think he's doing that really well here. We have a really stacked ensemble. Getting it out of the way, Daniel Craig is sublime as Benoit Blanc per usual. I think what's really interesting about Detective Blanc in this one is that he's coming up against religion. He is a man who is rooted in logic and fact, and so him coming up against like faith and religion and just like the unknown is very interesting. It breeds a lot of comedy. I think this movie overall is really, really funny, funnier than at least Glass Onion, but it also creates this like very interesting paradigm, especially with Josh O'Connor's character, who, by the way, is remarkable in this. His character's internal struggle plays out beautifully, and I love the way he commands the scene. I love the way he navigates this character and this character's perception of faith. Kerry Washington is chewing up the scenery too. She is a lot of fun to watch. I think she is so like hard to look away from when she is doing her thing. And Glenn Close is eating up every line, and she is, I mean, it's Glenn Close, duh. Of course she's great. Andrew Scott doesn't have a ton to do, but he is fun with what he does. I really, really wish we got more Kaylee Spaney, though. I think that character could have been way more interesting and fleshed out. In fact, that's my other big gripe with this movie, whereas I think in the first two, all of the ensemble members felt really detailed and fleshed out. Even the ones who maybe didn't have as much to do, they still felt like really full people, very dynamic personalities, very distinct characters. In this one, all of these characters are being well performed, right? But some of these characters definitely just feel like they are there to be a suspect and don't have as much else going on, you know? I think on a technical level, this might be the most impressive in the Knives Out series. I think it is just like a technical feat. The production design, gorgeous. This church is a character all its own. The grounds have a very distinct personality. It feels alive. It feels like it has a history. You can feel everything kind of going on in there. Cinematography is great. I loved how this was shot. I think it's beautiful. There's some really striking moments in there that I won't spoil, but like some quick shots that really like kind of took my breath away. And also the lighting in this. The way Rian Johnson plays with light in this movie, sometimes it gets a little heavy-handed, but I was all about it. I think he's playing with it in a way that really uplifts the scenes, really uplifts the characters, but is also like operating in kind of a meta sort of way. I think it's really brilliant. Loved it. The most fascinating and my favorite part of this film is the way it is acting as an exploration of faith. Specifically, we're really diving into the way faith is weaponized and why people cling to faith and why people do need it. I mentioned this firebrand Monsignor Jefferson Wicks, played by Josh Brolin. He is really all about like stirring up anger and fear and like really playing to that. Whereas the young priest Judd, who is played by Josh O'Connor, really wants to lead with compassion and guide people to find Jesus in their own way, and he wants to act in service of their journey and uplifting them. The way these characters interact with organized religion and the way like some of them really need it for internal purposes and some of them need it for more selfish gains is fascinating. Like all of the Knives Out movies, it feels like Rian Johnson is really speaking to the current day and age. I think as each of these movies have come out, they've come out at a very distinct time in our culture, and they are actively satirizing and engaging with that culture, and this one is no different. It feels very pertinent for this day and age, especially talking about how religion is weaponized, how people tap into others' fear and anger and lack of understanding, and it feels like this movie is actively calling that out and asking for people to be more compassionate and to lead with their hearts. Overall, not as wowed as some of my peers who saw it earlier than I, but I did enjoy myself. I think it's laugh out loud funny. It might be the funniest one in the bunch. I think it's beautiful, and I think it has a lot to say this time around. And while that commentary maybe sometimes gets a little heavy-handed or dragged out, I think it's effective. You can't really go wrong with these. I will happily take as many more of these as Rian Johnson and Daniel Craig are willing to give us. I would like to watch this one again, actually, and like really digest it now that I know what I'm getting. I think it will grow for me. Whereas Glass Onion, I kind of cooled on the more I thought about it. This one, I'm just continually warming up to. Right now, I'm sitting at 4 stars with Wake Up Dead Man. It opens in theaters the week of Thanksgiving, but it will be hitting Netflix later. Highly recommend seeing it on a big screen, though, if you can support your theaters. Thank you so much for tuning in to all these reviews. We're catching up on all the major releases heading into award season. And make sure you do all the things you're supposed to do with a YouTube channel. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, follow me everywhere. We're going to be doing more reviews, and we're going to be covering all the awards stuff, so you won't want to miss it. But until next time, bye.